Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Vaughn, for your testimony today. I wanted to talk a little bit about how your budget proposal is going to have impact on the millions of vulnerable children across this country. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the impact that I see that it will have, because I don't feel like you or this administration or Trump gets it. In America, 1 out of 5 children struggle with hunger. And for many of these children, the free lunch and breakfast that they get in school is often the only meal they get to have. Yet the budget that you're proposing, and this administration and Trump is proposing, makes a $1.7 billion cut from school meals over the next 10 years. A cut that largely would result in more than 29,000 children losing access to free school meals program in my home state of Minnesota alone. What this budget does is quite literally take food out of the mouths of children. How can these kids be expected to be present and fully present in classes, to learn in the same space as other kids? How can we expect them to reach their full potential? And how can we expect them to be able to be on the same footing as other kids around the world? I often say that budgets are a value statement, as you have many times in this committee. And you said that we are committed to having promises kept. What does this budget and your proposal in cutting the child nutrition programs say about the promises that we want to keep to children and where our values really are?
Thank you for the question, Congresswoman. We don't think that our budget cuts the programs that you refer to. Specifically, we think that it's important that high-income schools that are currently grouped together right now to receive benefits because they're grouped with low-income schools, that's unfair for the programs themselves. Similarly, some of the reductions that you've talked about are with regard to one-time rescissions that are not needed to be able to cover all of the children that we currently project. And we know Congress does the same analysis.
Yeah. How is the assessment made what child deserves to eat and what child doesn't? My understanding is that we should care about every single child arriving in that school, having the resources that they need to be able to get educated and be fully present. We have parents who might fall off the threshold of whatever that income is, who might not be able to pack a lunch or a breakfast or milk or a cookie or an apple for their kids. Should those kids not be able to have meals in the school so that they can be fully present in that classroom? Is that what this administration values?
We believe it's important that communities that are otherwise ineligible to receive these types of benefits not receive these benefits, and that only the communities that are eligible receive them.
But how is the judgment of what the value of the benefits is made? We are talking about children in our classrooms. We are talking about America's most vulnerable. Earlier, you talked about the harvest box. You said if they are not home, that they should pay a price.
No, I didn't say
that. That was the example you used, that if you're not home, then you pay a fee.
No.
So what penalty would you think should we propose for people who might not be home to receive juice or a cereal box or a canned meat?
I specifically was not referring to suggesting that they should pay a penalty. The point I was making, Congresswoman, is that we don't think that it matters where you are on the income scale to be able to determine a certain level of responsibility to receive in the mail that which you are expecting to receive in the mail. We think that human beings are responsible from that standpoint.
I get that. What I am saying is we have a responsibility to make sure that here in the United States, people are fed. We are talking about food. We are talking about children having food.
We agree.
We give humanitarian assistance to people around the world because we believe people should not experience food insecurity. People should not starve. But here in the United States, we decide to increase a defense budget that might lead to not having our budgets be fully intact, but we decide to say that we don't have enough money to feed our most vulnerable.
Thank you.
That is the decision we're making.
Thank you, Ms. Omar. The time has expired. The chair will now recognize Ms. Schakowsky from Illinois.